Hey everybody, we're live in San Diego. It's day 44 of the Be Fantastic Road Tour. And I was thought it was gonna be quiet out here. And then there's a guy sanding his car in the garage. Then the trash truck came by. You have much, I can't believe how much noise these trash, I mean, then there's a plane flying over. It's not quite as noisy as the intersection from a couple of days ago when I was at the San Diego airport. But so I'm still in San Diego. It's my 30th day here, and I feel like leaving today. Luckily, some money came in. I can leave, but I'm going to give this guy a little bit more chance. It's Bob Bishop, my host. We're going to go to Fiji. He's got a big water deal there. I want to help out with that. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time. Actually, look into renting another place because there's a lot of drama here. I mean, one day I'll write it down in another chapter of my book. There's been some heavy duty drama in this place. And but I want to tell you a little quick story. I've been called MacGyver because I know how to do a lot of different things, and I've got a lot of common sense, and sometimes just common sense, can fix the problem. But so my Rolex broke, and it's this Rolex is a beautiful watch. I've had it for 40 years now. I don't think I've ever got it serviced, and they say you should service it every 5 years at a cost of, like $850. And lately, the little spring that holds in the band has been coming loose, and I always see it, and I'm able to push it back in. So it was getting loose, and that little spring there. It's gold. Everything's gold in this. It's like $250 plus the guy to put it in. So I don't quite want to spend $250 right now. So the other day I was at the sink, and my watch fell right off into the sink. Luckily, that's where it fell, and I could not find it. I could not find it for the life of me. I looked everywhere, and I lost it once before up in Marina del Rey, but I found it. It was quite a search, and this time I couldn't find it. So what am I going to do? I've worn my pocket for a few days, so I went on Amazon, and I found out there's these springs that you can order. That's what I ordered. Cost $8.46, and I ended up using one of them. But they sent me 360 of them. God knows what I'm gonna do with 360 of them, but it worked out to 2 cents each. So instead of spending $250 on my watch, I spent $8.36, or if you want to work it down, 2 cents. So sometimes you don't have to spend a bunch of money to fix something if you're creative and you look. And it's actually stronger because it used to be loose when I had the other spring. It's not loose at all. It's in there. It took me an hour to put it in, and it wasn't easy, but I got it. So that's the little story for today. I asked the guy sanding if he could knock off at 5 minutes till, and of course I couldn't wait for him to knock off, so I started the show early. I'm not live for another 8 minutes, so I'm just telling you a little story before the show gets started. So listen to that beautiful sound of someone sanding their BMW. Sometimes you've losing one of those senses. What would be easier? And of course, people like Helen Keller, who had sight and sound lost. I don't know how you could teach someone something like that. It's amazing what human beings can do. When you put your mind to it, you can do anything you want. And I've been trying to teach that for the last couple of years in my motivation speeches, in my motivations, advice, that if you put 5 minutes into something, you'll be very successful at it. A dream, a goal, 5 minutes a day. Study it for 5 minutes. Go to YouTube. You want to be this young lady wanted to be a veterinarian assistant. So I said, she said she couldn't afford it. So I said, go to the internet and look up all the terminology and vernacular on veterinary science. And that's half the battle, knowing all the words and what they mean, and the different ailments dogs and cats and other animals can do. And if she would have just put 5 minutes a day into learning, in a month it's 150 minutes, in a year it's 1,000 and some odd minutes, and she would know a lot. And I guarantee you, if she walks into any veterinary store and says, I'm looking for a job, ask me any question on veterinary science, and she can nail it, she would get the job. So people like excuses. They say, well, I can't afford to go to school, so they don't learn. Knowledge is free. The internet's free. Libraries are free. So there's no excuse there. A lot of people say, oh, I'm sequestered now. I can't exercise because the gym's not open. That's bullshit. 3 exercises is all you need to do. When you're in junior high and high school, they had PE, physical education. You did sit-ups, push-ups, and jumping jacks. That's all you need to do to keep in shape. But people like excuses. They all like excuses. Now I can go on and talk about all the motivational things I've been talking about for the last couple of years. But lately, if you've been listening to the show or prior shows, you've heard them, and I don't want to keep repeating myself to everybody. Although there are people I'm sure that tune in don't know what the Be Fantastic movement's about. So I kind of sneak that in every once in a while. And I started yesterday reading This Day in History, because this is an important day. It's a birthday for 21 million people in the world. And how I figured that out is there's 7.6 and change billion people on the planet. And there's only 365 days, sometimes 366 days, where you could be born. Well, the math is 21 million people are celebrating their birthday today. But I like history. I wasn't never real buff on history, but I like learning from my history. I like learning from other people's history. That's why I'm a fairly good interviewer, because I'm curious about their history, about what they've done, where they're going, what's their makeup. So I ask some pretty good questions. I've been told I'm a fantastic interviewer. At any rate, so a lot of times it's just talking to this camera, which isn't easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy talking to an inanimate object like this and trying to make sense of it all. So without any further ado, I'll wait another 5 minutes before I start reading This Day in History. Now, let's just talk about a quick little history lesson. Around 650 years ago, there was a pope by the name of Pope Gregory IX. And this moron, you think a pope would be a fairly intelligent person. Of course, back then they thought the earth was flat and the earth was the center of the universe, and they made a couple mistakes. And we're still making a lot of mistakes, but we're learning. We're a very low species on the evolutionary scale, in my opinion. So about 600 years ago, 650, this pope, he got it in his head that little bitty kitty cats were the devil's worship. So he ordered the extinction of all. Oh, hold on one second. I usually take calls during the show, but these before the show, so I'll take this call real quick. Hey, Kevin, I was just on. Yeah, real quick. What's up? Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a fantastic human being, one of my ambassadors, and one of my deals. Now, everyone's got me back working again. I didn't work for the last 3 months, but they've because of the COVID-19 dilemma and the kind of context I have around the world, I'm being inundated with requests for masks, sanitizer, and gowns, and all the PPE stuff. And luckily, I have contacts in most every field imaginable. I've worked in 98 different fields. And I put out a couple calls, and now I've been inundated with people that have, or mostly looking for product. I'm direct to sanitizer. We're selling masks and gloves and all that good stuff. And there's some big orders there. So it's nice that I can fulfill something that's just not designed just to make a bunch of money. It's actually going to help people, because people do need the masks. They do need the gloves. They do need the sanitizer. I really believe in the sanitizer. We are one of the biggest, or the company I'm working with, who's on my board of directors for Be Fantastic International, Tony. Shout out to Tony and Drink Via. They are my sponsor for the last 8 months on my radio show, and they're sponsoring the road tour. And it's a proactive hydration beverage. This particular can here is caffeinated sparkling water, orange flavor. They have a variety of flavors, no calories, caffeinated sparkling water. It's really quite delicious, and it's a good mix as well. The other drinks that I like are the fruit juices. They are a probiotic hydration beverage. delicious, nutritious, and VEA stands for vitamins, electrolytes, and antioxidants. I don't know how people on the newscast and everything else don't scratch their nose or touch their face. You know, the average person touches their face 80 times a day. And I'm very conscious of it now that I'm trying to talk to you without scratching my nose or picking my ear, you know. Any rate, so they're a fantastic sponsor. Drinkvia.com. You can buy them on the internet right now. And they fell into bottling sanitizer because they're a bottling company and they have a drink, and there was a huge demand for it, and they just fell into it, and I fell into it with them, and now I'm basically their director of marketing, and I'm bringing in some huge clients. We're selling tens of millions to the U.S. government. We've got some incredible connections in Mexico up to the president, so it's pretty cool. So you can go to my website in a couple of days, and you'll see the prices if you want to be part of the solution, which is actually hooking up buyers and sellers. It's a horrible business, being a broker, but if you're close to the buyer or the seller, it's a good business. If you're just a joker broker, then no, I won't get into that. So it is about noon. I want to welcome everyone to the Be Fantastic Road Tour. I'm Dr. Fantastic, professor of positivity, possibly and practically the most positive person on the planet. And I really, really enjoy when I first introduce it to people. They usually get a really big kick out of it. And I enjoy making people smile. When you say the word fantastic, you make people smile. You smile. You make the world a better place if you make one person smile today. And smiling reduces stress. People are under a lot of stress right now. It's actually their fault. You can't let circumstances out of your control stress you. Relationship, traffic, COVID, these are things that you're letting stress you. You know, I have no stress in my life. I'm homeless right now, and I have no stress in my life. I gave up all my worldly possessions to go on the road as Dr. Fantastic and tell the world that you don't need money, you don't need material things to be happy. You just need to jump out of bed in the morning looking forward to your day. And when that happens, you do it well because you're having fun. And when you have fun and you do it well, you get paid for it. I mean, eventually I'll get paid for this, but I'm not concerned about the money. I'm concerned about making the world a more civil place. We live in a greedy, selfish, litigious world. And my goal right now is to go around the world, meet with the heads of state and the gardeners and the janitors of the world and teach them that being positive is the most important thing you could do in your life. Believe in yourself, love yourself, be kind to others. These are things that we're taught, but when money comes into the game, when you get old enough to make money and that's all that drives you, then it's pretty sad. I know many people that have killed themselves with a lot of money. You know, the guy who introduced me to my wife killed himself, and he had everything: a big mansion, all the toys, a family, and some people just aren't happy. Material possessions don't make you happy. I think there was a movie made, I gotta look it up again, about being happy. They went around the world interviewing the poorest and the richest. And really, I mean, the poor people are happy. There's a video I've been watching on YouTube, and one of them, there's three different sort of like tribes, I want to say, or humans. And these guys use, one guy, Mr. Hung, Heung, he uses literally a stick, and the stick is sharpened, and he digs literally homes underground, teaspoon by teaspoon. Digs it, scoops it up with his hands, throws it out of the hole, and the most elaborate homes he's dug with swimming pools and slides, and he makes the bed out of bamboo, and he catches his own fish with his hands, and he makes his own fire. He has no possessions whatsoever, and he builds these elaborate homes. And the cement they use when they have the pool, it's amazing. I think I believe it's like a bee hive or an ant hive or something like that. And they attack it, and it's a huge mound of probably 100 years old, and they pulverize it. They dig it up and they pulverize it, and they put water in it, and it becomes like a cement. So they use that for the liner for the pools or the bathtubs that they built. It is transfixing to watch. I could watch it for hours. No sound. I mean, there's a sound of him digging, but there's no music and no dialogue ever. He never utters a word, and even when there's two of them working side by side, they don't I don't know. They don't communicate with the words. They're digging, and they're a team, and it's the most amazing thing. You really should watch it. It's quite amazing, especially that now that you're sequestered in with COVID-19. It's Heung, Mr. Heung. Watch it. It's fantastic. So, without further ado, if you have any calls from Dr. Fantastic, the number is 310-913-5533. Please call in and ask me questions, give me suggestions, tell me to take a hike, whatever you like. I'll take bad criticism. For the most part, everyone seems to love the Be Fantastic movement. It's positive. It teaches you a lot of things that you need to put in your head, to be positive, to believe in yourself, to know that every decision you're making is correct, every turn you make is correct, and that's what I'm here to guide you through. So now I thought it was kind of neat, and if I don't get calls, that I might bring you up in a little history. It's nice to know we have a history. America has a history. The earth has a history. The world has a history. China has a history. And when you know our history, sometimes you don't repeat it and make the same mistake. I wish we would learn the mistakes we made with war. But and so here is today. By the way, again, happy birthday to 21 million people in the world that have a birthday today, May 13th, 2020. So on May 13th, 1846, the U.S. Congress overwhelmingly votes in favor of President James Polk's request to declare war on Mexico in a dispute over Texas. Did you all know that? Okay. Under the threat of war, the United States had refrained from annexing Texas after the latter won independence from Mexico in 1836. Did you know Texas was part of Mexico until 1836? I probably learned it in 5th grade, but that was a long time ago, so I think I forgot it. And I did forget it. But in 1844, 8 years later, President John Tyler restarted negotiations with the Republic of Texas, culminating with a treaty of annexation. The treaty was defeated by a wide margin in the Senate because it would upset the slave state-free state balance between North and South and risked war with Mexico, which had broken off relations with the United States. So here we are. We have slaves. We're not talking to Mexico. Texas is in the mix there, and I guess we're fighting over them. But shortly before leaving office, and with the support of President-elect Polk, Tyler managed to get the joint resolution passed on March 1st, 1845, and Texas was admitted to the Union on December 29th, 1845. Love Texas. My son went to Texas A&M, played #1 for the tennis team there, and after that had a fabulous career traveling the world playing tennis. I taught him tennis, so I'm proud to say that I taught a 3-time All-American and a professional on the tour that's highly respected. I mean, the guy has got it made. He flies, all expense paid, to these fabulous tennis pro-ams, and it makes money. Having fun. That's the secret to life. Have fun and you get paid for that. Don't chase money. Chase your dream, chase your passion, and put 5 minutes a day to it. I gave her some advice to this lady who I interviewed. It's really pretty funny. I taped her making a prison meal. She just got out of prison for 3 years. She was in the neighborhood, and they all hang out in this neighborhood here. It's a very nice neighborhood for a bunch of convicts to be hanging out in. But she made a prison meal out of, this was the ingredients. You got to watch it. It's hilarious. Ramen, which I love, but with not the water. She cooks it and dumps the water out. Then she put mayonnaise, mustard, shrimp, what was the other ingredient? Pickles, and the coup de grace, mushed up Cheetos fiery cheese puffs. That was a prison meal. So I guess you throw everything that you have in your cell into the bowl and you eat it for dinner. It's quite amusing. You should watch it. So the advice I gave her was, I know the people, she's already gone. I don't know where the hell she went, but I would be following her as well. So the advice I gave her is go on your phone and in 5 minutes record what happened that day, and people will follow you. They want to see that you are rehabilitated. that you 3 years you learned your lesson, and the story she has to tell. So 5 minutes is nothing to put towards a career. I guaranteed her she would make $1 million or 100,000 anyway by doing it 5 minutes a day. People around the world will follow a convict like that to see how they're doing in the real world. And she's blonde and she's, fairly attractive, I guess, for some people, not for me. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So let's go on. This is a pretty interesting thing, I think. So while Mexico didn't follow through its threat to declare war, relations between the new nations remained tense over border disputes. That's mine. They're always arguing, Palestine, the Israelis. It's always about religion or power or money. It's ridiculous. And in July 1845, President Polk ordered troops into disputed lands that lay between the Nueces and Rio Grande rivers. In November, Polk sent the diplomat John Slidell to Mexico to seek boundary adjustments in return for the U.S. government's settlement of the claims of U.S. citizens against Mexico, and also to make an offer to purchase California and New Mexico. So I guess that tells me that California and New Mexico were also part of Mexico. Don't we just take over everything as Americans? After the mission failed, the U.S. Army under General Zachary Taylor advanced to the mouth of the Rio Grande, the river that the state of Texas claimed as its southern boundary, period. Mexico, claiming that the boundary was the Nueces River to the northeast of the Rio Grande, considered the advance of Taylor's army an act of aggression, and in April 1846 sent troops across the Rio Grande. Polk, in return, declared the Mexican advance to be an invasion of U.S. soil, and on May 11th, 1846, asked Congress to declare war on Mexico, which it did 2 days later, May 13th, 1846. And after 2 years of fighting, peace was established by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, signed on February 2nd, 1848. How many people died for that? It's amazing. See, it's nice to know that California, New Mexico, and Texas were part of Mexico. So we took a big chunk of Mexico. I mean, a fairly good chunk. Anyway, so now in closing, it says the Rio Grande was made the southern boundary of Texas, and California and New Mexico were ceded to the United States. In return, the United States paid Mexico the sum of $15 million and agreed to settle all claims of U.S. citizens against Mexico. $15 million for Mexico. For California and New Mexico. Oh, the trash trucks are back. Oh, I'm so happy. Why don't we just listen to that beautiful sound of trash being thrown away? You know how much trash we throw away as humans? It was just my wife and I after the kids were grown. And every day I took this huge sack. Of course, I eat a lot, and we cook fantastic meals every day. I used to take this huge sack of trash you love it, huh? To the garage, to the trash chute. And that's just 2 people. There's 7 billion people on the planet. The trash that that's the biggest mistake. We're polluting the planet with trash, plastic especially. So the future will be reusable, not recyclable. Recyclable, they're doing a good job of recycling, maybe 10%. But reusable, it's wonderful. Plastic is our enemy. Okay, let's see what else happened on May 12th. Is that what it is? May 12th? Okay. Pope John Paul II is shot in 81. I try not to tell you the bad news. Skip that one. Mary, Queen of Scots, is defeated in 1568. That's bad news, I guess, as well for her. In 1607, this is an American fact, Jamestown settlers arrived. 1607. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. So 1607, Jamestown. Some 100 English colonists arrive along the east bank of the James River in Virginia to found Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in North America. Dispatched from England by the London Company, the colonists had settled across the Atlantic aboard the Susan Constantine. Wow, 1607. Okay. See if I can only remember these things. I think, it's nice to have a little trivia on some things. Okay, in 1973, here we go, we're going into sports. Bobby Riggs and Margaret Court face off in the first Battle of the Sexes. That was a big deal. My sons, again, as I told you, both my sons were tennis pros. Jason played for UCLA, number 3, and Lester played number 1 for Texas A&M. Full rides. You want to save money on college scholarships? Teach your kids tennis, especially the girls. They get an easy ride in college scholarships. So on May 13th, 1973, during the early years of the women's liberation movement, those women, tennis stars Bobby Riggs and Margaret Court face off in a $10,000 winner-take-all challenge. $10,000? 1973, that's a lot of money. The 55-year-old Riggs, a tennis champion from the late 30s and 40s, who was notoriously skeptical. Let me see it. Hold on here. Of women's talents. So he was a male chauvinist pig, like a lot of guys are. On the tennis court, branded the contest a battle of the sexes. The match, which was played on Mother's Day and televised internationally, was held on Riggs' home turf, the San Vicente Country Club in Ramona, California. Didn't remember that either. Southeast of San Diego. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just go over there for one of my broadcasts. It's right around the corner. Proceeds were promised to the American Diabetes Association. Bobby Riggs had originally proposed a male-female matchup to Billie Jean King, whom he dubbed the leading women's libber of tennis. King ignored the offer, but Australian Margaret Court, who had won 89 of her last 92 matches and was the leading money winner on the women's professional tour, accepted. Billie Jean, that would have been a good one. Leading up to the match, Riggs loudly and consistently belittled women's tennis and its players to the media, while Court, occupied with raising her 1-year-old son, said little. That's really important. The wise man listens. She's a lot smarter than the big shot Bobby. Court was a serve and volley player, known for her tough play at the net. By contrast, Riggs was a baseliner. I highly respect serve and volleyers versus baseliners. And it later became known that he had the court resurfaced to slow the game, I tell you, giving him time to wind up and put more power into his strokes. The slow service immediately put Court at a disadvantage. Riggs lobbed Court's shots back to her, breaking her rhythm, and she was accustomed to. And on the hard-hitting women's tour, rattled, she lost the match 6-2, 6-1. Actually, I thought she won the match. My history is really bad. Okay, so it was a male chauvinist world, and it still kind of is. It's still a black and white world. We have a long way to go in being a better culture. And I think the COVID-19 is going to make us better people, kinder, more gentler. That's what my goal is anyway. And I hope these shows here convince you to be kind and friendly and polite and civil. Let someone in traffic. Makes them feel good, makes you feel good or fantastic. Open doors for people. Say please and thank you. Say hello back when someone says hello to you. I can't tell you how many people tell me they say hello to people and they don't say hello back. I mean, what is this society coming to? You watch my show, a lot of times I'll precede or end the show with an animated video showing how greedy, selfish, and litigious we all are. Anyway, after Riggs' death at age 77 in 1995, King complimented her former rival and his probably accidental contribution to the advancement of sexual equality. Our Battle of the Sexes match helped to advance the game of tennis and women everywhere, she had been quoted as saying. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that was a good sports day in history. Okay, crime. Okay, we already went through that one. This seems to, the one I had yesterday, the answers to everything is on the internet. So I just Googled this day in history and I got a lot more articles yesterday. Oh, in 1958, Vice President Nixon is attacked. 1915, Edith Wharton writes of the war's effect on France. It's a bad effect on everybody. Great Britain, Churchill in 1940, Churchill announced, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat." It was his day of becoming Britain's new prime minister. And a few of those. Okay, well, if anyone wants to call, I'll be on a couple more minutes here. 310-913-5533. Or you could text it, but I can't really see with this damn sunlight. So, again, I'm really contemplating making a move. It's been 30 days in San Diego. I love it. I brought you some great shows, some fantastic shows, I think, from Midway Aircraft Carrier, from Maritime Museum, from Airspace and the Air and Space Museum, from the zoo, from the beach, from the Spruce Street Suspension Bridge. Here's what's really funny. A lot of San Diegans don't even know that the Spruce Street Suspension Bridge even exists. I'm out here washing my car yesterday, and a girl drives by. She goes, "Do you know where the Spruce Street Suspension Bridge is?" And like a local, I told her exactly where it was. Although they've closed it now. I did a couple videos there, and one of them said stop, which means don't go any further, I guess. But I took it as stop and then proceed. So I crawled around the sign and went across it. Now it says off limits, and so that makes it a little bit different than stop. I like breaking the rules. Yeah, I like breaking the rules. Got to break the rules. I broke the rules a little bit. I have a COVID-19 test. I know I didn't have COVID-19. I haven't been wearing the mask. I'm sorry, everybody, but I don't believe it's going to fly around and land on me. I see people jogging down the street without masks. I've been told people have gotten in accidents and died wearing a mask because they're not getting enough oxygen. They pass out. And the mask was designed so you don't touch your face. That's what the mask is for, not necessarily that someone sneezes. And believe me, if someone sneezes, 6 feet ain't gonna cut it for distancing. Speaking of distancing, everyone's been saying around the world social distancing. I wish they had talked to me first. They got it completely wrong. The last thing you want to be is socially distant from your loved ones, your friends, your associates, and the world. You do want to be physically distancing. It should all be physical distancing, not social distancing. You got it completely wrong, and I hope you agree with that. So I want to invite you all to be part of the movement. We've got 244 ambassadors of positivity as of this morning. Now, as I create these deals I'm working on, and as I give these conference calls, I'm going to be consistent in introducing the Be Fantastic movement to all the players that want to participate in these broker deals. Because I don't want to work with anyone who's not fantastic. I don't want to represent a product that's not fantastic. And the Fantastic brand will stand for, when it becomes a global brand, something that you can rely on, that you know is going to be fantastic. The word fantastic means unimaginably good and beautiful. Do you want to have a good life or a fantastic life? Do you want to marry a good person or a fantastic person? Would you want to go to a doctor that's good or one that's fantastic? The word fantastic means unimaginably good and beautiful. And as you've heard a million times before, and for those just tuning in, whenever you say that word, it makes you smile. That releases the endorphins, the dopamine, the serotonin that make you feel fantastic. The smile makes you look fantastic. And this isn't coming from Dr. Fantastic. This is science and fact. When you say the word fantastic and you smile or you laugh, it reduces your stress. Less stress means you can be healthier. A little healthier means you're going to live longer. So when you smile and say the word fantastic, the person that heard it smiles, you smile, you both live longer, feel better, look better, are more successful in business and in relationships. You create engagement, and you're going to make the world a better place. Be fantastic, everybody. Join the movement. Let people in traffic. Be kind. Be civil. Love yourself. Be positive. Watch my YouTube shows. There's a lot of great mixology drinks, a lot of great interviews, a lot of fantastic locations and advice and motivation. Listen to my podcast when you're driving, 175 plus of them that are designed to improve your mind, the body, or the planet. My radio show, the same way, the same thing occurs. I know a lot of fantastic people in the world. I'm meeting more as I go along each day and try new things. And I love trying new things. That's probably why I've done over 98 different things to make money in my life. But it's not about making money. It's going to make you happy. I mean, I have a chance of making a shitload of money, what I'm doing right now. But that's not what they're not going to change me. I'm still going to be Dr. Fantastic, and I'm just going to travel around the world with more comfort and tell the world that they need to be fantastic, that they need to be kind and civil, pollinating positivity and cultivating civility. That's our movement. Send an email to Dr. Fantastic and Be Fantastic today. Say you want to be a member of the or that you want to be an ambassador of positivity, and the only obligation is to get rid of the word good. You know, we have the pins available if you want them. We have swag. That's not important. Important is do not say the word good anymore. Say fantastic instead. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. And this is Dr. Fantastic signing out. Day 44 of the Be Fantastic Tour. And that's it. Bye-bye, everyone.